Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you all how I draw this eyebrow. It's my easy go-to eyebrow that I draw without a reference. So let's get started. I'm going to be using graphite today. I'm using the Faber-Castell Goldfaber graphite pencils in 2H, HB, 4B and 6B. I'm also using a mono eraser, a regular blending stump and a blending brush, which is optional, and just a regular eraser and a sharpener. So before I get into the full video, I do want to focus on the actual eyebrow hairs and how I draw them. So what I do is I separate the eyebrow into 3 different sections. Starting with the first third of the eyebrow, which is the beginning, I use a flicking motion that flicks upwards. You have to use a really light hand and a medium to fast motion. Don't separate the hairs or make them look uniformed, but rather make them all, quite random. Moving on to the second third of the eyebrow, I draw longer hairs that are more so on the side, flicking to the left or right depending on the eyebrow that you are drawing. And I do keep the same flicking motion, so keep a really light hand and use a medium to fast motion. Now at the end of the eyebrow where it arches, I flick the eyebrow hairs upwards rather than downwards. As you can see, I'm mimicking the pointing shape at the end of the eyebrow and working my way up. And then gradually I blend it with the second third of the eyebrow. So beginning with this tutorial, I do start off with a really basic eyebrow shape, and so I arch the eyebrow just slightly towards the end. Once you're happy with the shape of the eyebrow, just go in with a HB pencil and lightly shade in the eyebrow. Once you've shaded the eyebrow in, just get a blending stump and just lightly blend it all in. I then go in with a blending brush and I just further blend. So now I'm beginning with the eyebrow hairs, and I've got my HB pencil and I've begun flicking, adding those flicking motions at the beginning of the eyebrow. And as you can see, I'm blending with the blending brush. So every time I draw a few flicks, I do blend. So this is to ensure that we don't get harsh lines. So now moving on towards the middle part of the eyebrow. Here I'm flicking the hairs horizontally rather than vertically. And now to the third part of the eyebrow, which is the arch. You can see how, again, as I mentioned before, I'm flicking the eyebrow hairs up into the second third of the eyebrow rather than flicking them down. And I'm blending it gradually with the second third of the eyebrow, so it is quite sharp towards the end, and then it gradually blends, it curves with the arch. So you do have to follow the shape of the eyebrow, so just keep that in mind. So I've just grabbed my 6B pencil and I'm adding some dark tones to the middle part of the eyebrow. So don't forget to keep blending with your blending stump or your brush, and also don't forget to keep a light hand. As I mentioned before, it's really important to keep a light hand when drawing because harsh lines are a big no when you want to create realistic artworks. So you really want to try and avoid those really harsh lines. So I'm just blending out the dark tones from the middle of the eyebrow to the tail. You don't want those dark tones to be concentrated on just one part of the eyebrow because it will look unbalanced and therefore it will look unnatural and not realistic. Using the same 6B pencil, and I'm just creating those flicks, focusing more so on the middle part of the tail. So I've just gotten a 4B pencil now, and I'm adding some really light flicks towards the beginning of the eyebrow. And I'm using a 4B because I do want to add some darker tones to blend out from the middle part of the eyebrow, but I don't want it to be as deep as the rest of the eyebrow because the beginning of the eyebrow does tend to be quite sparse. So I'm just going in with my mono eraser now, and I'm just erasing out some parts of the eyebrow to mimic the sparse areas that you would see on a normal eyebrow. Adding some faint flicks and lines on the top and bottom of the eyebrow, fading outwards. It's important to create these stray hairs so that the eyebrow looks more natural rather than cartoony, which a lot of people do have that problem. They do tend to create a really sharp and defined eyebrow shape where it can look cartoony, so that's why it's important to create those really faint stray hairs blending out so that it can look natural and therefore look more realistic. In some areas that I find that I've erased too much out, I do go in with a HB pencil and I just lightly shade over them. I'm just adding some finishing touches and I'm done. I really hope you all enjoyed this tutorial, and let me know in the comments what you would like to see next. If you try out this eyebrow drawing, please tag me on Instagram. My Instagram is @SarahMasriArt. I hope you all have a really great day, and thank you so much for watching.